Welcome to YouTooSpain Live. This week, it's our penultimate show of 2023. So Chris from Upsticks and I will be giving you a roundup, a review of the exciting changes we've seen this year for Brit Expats and everybody else moving to Spain and living here. It's been a year of huge improvements, exciting changes. So stick around for an excellent show and join in with the chat either live somewhere there or down there, depending on which platform you're watching on, and or in the comments below if you're watching back afterwards. You are all very welcome to YouTooSpain. Get ready to dance. Here we go. Groovy, baby. The music seemed to be a bit wobbly there. Sounded like Dalek music. I'm all excited about Doctor Who. Anyway, right. We're not talking about Doctor Who today. I'll try and get it out of my head. Beam it out. Right then, just before we get chatting, don't forget to visit YouTooSpain.com, the website. It'll be there on the screen all the way through and easy to find. You can find loads of articles on there, resources, specialists and links that you need for your move to Spain and for living here. And you can sign up to the monthly newsletter, which comes out on the 1st of each month. And you can also get on there with our partners, Smart Currency Exchange. You can get a free account from them and advice. They've got a really great service called Fixing a Forward Exchange Rate for you. They're specialists in that and dealing with property also. They also have the loveliest people to help you, and Jack Wiggs is one of them. He will be back on the show fairly soon in the new year. Use the link below to get in touch with them. It doesn't cost a penny and it helps YouTooSpain too. It's a win-win-win with a cherry on top. There it goes. So without further ado, let's meet our excellent guest for the day. It's Chris from Upsticks. Morning, Chris.
Morning. How you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. I thought you were going to be on holiday on a beach somewhere, but you're back.
No, back late yesterday and dropped my parents off at the airport and they ran here. Got in within about 5 minutes to spare.
Brilliant. That's the way we run things here.
Yeah.
Let's just show everybody where you've been. Here's the Playa La Barrosa.
Yeah.
Well, that's down by Cadiz, isn't it? Cadiz?
That's right. Yeah, it's in Chiclana de la Frontera, in a resort called Santi Petre. It's a huge beach. Really nice. All the beaches down there, obviously Atlantic, it's ocean, isn't it? So it's amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
There we go. Which coincidentally was also the venue's not the right word, the place where all of this action happened that I did the video all about, the who I called expats, immigrants.
So that, yeah,
on the boats.
There's a good I'm sure it'll get some clicks. But yeah, they do have, in that area they have there's an awful lot of activity happening out in the sea. So you see a lot of what look like military style helicopters riding up and down. I didn't have my binoculars, so I couldn't really see what was going on, but there is quite a lot of activity.
I suppose you're very, very close to North Africa. It's almost the narrowest point near to Gibraltar.
Yeah, just around the corner. Actually, one of the waiters was saying, so I was asking, he said that there was a lot of the smugglers. What happens is they go up, basically. Well, so if you look at the Strait of Gibraltar, they'll head east, west, sorry.
West to the left, yeah.
And then the currents bring them in. So something like that. He was saying it's like sort of a square, and that's where the helicopters are there, and the migrant boats do the same, where they sort of catch a current, and that's how they end up so far around. So I think as the crow flies, it was like 80 kilometers where the strait is straight. The stretch is quite small, but yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's all happening. So you got any shout outs for any clients?
This week, yes, just the farmer family who got their golden visas. I'm not so sure they watch the channel, though. We always plug it, and we're very, very happy with that because they are coming through in good time at the moment from the UG. And now the golden visas, when you apply in Spain, you get 3 years. So that's even better news, 36 months.
Brilliant. Let's have a chat. See who's on the live chat. Robo, buenos dias. And Alicante, Feliz Navidad. Ken Skilling and Barry from Unitech. It's very soggy here in Warrington, he says. Yeah, that's Warrington for you. And Paul Cook, Lionel Knights, Mr. Lower Largo, and Janet Stanton. Morning, Janet. Moving everything out of her house to hopefully complete the sale next Thursday. Wish me luck. Yes, best wishes there, Janet. Lovely. It's all happening for you. When's your moving date? So, can't be long now. Are you moving before Christmas? So, and Mark Thompson says, morning, guys, from Mark and Lynn. There we go. A few people paired. I think that means they're watching on your channel. So, that's cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've worked out now. It does show as a live. I've been doing my own YouTubing and working out how to use a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm. It's great. So you're nearly up to you're almost up to the views. You keep going. You're around about the 4,000 views. Have you got the subscribers? You've got more than 1,000.
2,400 nearly. We're about 2,300 and something. So so yeah, and I did try doing a short the other day. You know when you do the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So with my son, and that worked. So we've got a template for that. So we're doing more of those, which apparently directs more people to your channel. I think.
Does, yeah.
So
that's good. That's one of the exciting things that's been happening in 2023. You developing the YouTube, which is fantastic. Yeah. It's good to see. We're all on the way up, and I just got messages from YouTube saying I've gone through 7,000 subscribers now and 500,000 views, which is awesome. So thank you to everybody who's been watching and everybody who's on this morning. And Mark says, we're loving our new life here, Mark Thompson. Anton Cares say, greetings all from a wet France, but better than the cold spell checker had. What's that mean? I don't understand that. And Janet says, 14th of December, is that the move? Oh, then cracking on with the NLV with Chris in the new year. Okay, yes, so you're not moving till the new year. Yes. Crack it. Oh, better than the cold spell. Ant says, not the cold spell checker. Spell checker has turned spell into spell checker. That's just, it's like shooting yourself in the foot, isn't it? There you go. So carry on putting your comments down the side. And if you're watching back afterwards, then put your comments below. And it's a great place to chat. Carry on the chat. Just before we start the roundup with the year, it's important. It's almost your last chance to buy raffle tickets for next week's show when we'll be drawing it. This is the big prize YouTooSpain Upsticks Christmas raffle in aid of two charities. I chose Save a Life One Dog at a Time, which is a marvellous local charity here in Compita, and Chris chose the wonderful homeless charity Ángeles Malagueños de la Noche. And the two charities, they'll get 50% each of donations. Absolutely every penny of your donations will go to the two charities. And the big winner takes all prize is a meal for two here in Spain with me and Chris, plus lots of goodies from Chris and me and our trusted partners. There's a bottle of gin, I believe, and some of these partners will be joining us on the Christmas show next week. We've got an absolutely full screen, and actually too many to fit on the screen. So I'm going to have to work out during the week how we do that. Me and Chris will be on the screen for the whole thing, and then we'll just bring other people in and out. But some people can't even join until we've got rid of some of the other ones, so we'll have to time everybody. Anyway, that's for next week. So to enter the raffle, you can use this thing in the top left-hand corner of the screen is the QR code, or I will put links everywhere as well. I'll put it on the chat somewhere and in the video description below and in the comments. So I'll pin it to the top of the comments. So yes, and the raffle is called It's a Win-Win-Win. Get your entries in now. Only a week left. Buy as many as you want for €5 each. You'll be assigned a number for each entry on the day, so it doesn't matter if you buy them one at a time or in a batch. You'll get all of those separate entries. So thank you very much in advance. And by the way, if you're watching this after the 16th of December, then your entry won't count, but you can donate and it'll all come through to YouTooSpain anyway. And thank you for that. And Barry says, I'll be in Tenerife next Saturday for my 60th birthday. Woohoo! A little bit of winter sun to warm my old bones. That'll be lovely. We'll wish you happy birthday next week. And fantastic. Okay then. So, 2023. What an adventure that was. And
it has been, hasn't it?
yeah. And one thing I've noticed is that gradually the systems are getting better, and I think BLS is a big part of that. I'm going to show you pictures as we go along of various thumbnails, they call them, the ones that advertise the videos on the YouTube channel, so that you can see, and if you want to go back and watch them, then you'll know what to look out for. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the BLS while I bring that on screen.
Yeah, I mean, well, as you know, the BLS offices have been introduced this year to handle the Spanish visa applications, and yeah, in general, it's a very good thing. It's been a bit of a rocky road to start with. So you know, London kicked it off with no actual appointment system, and then that's changed. Initially, you had to call them, and now you can actually get it online. So it was a bit of a every time they start a new process, they seem to open the office and worry about it afterwards, you know. But now that's working extremely well. Edinburgh, again, when they opened, very good reports. We had the very first client go through there, John McClue, watches the channel. So he was the very first NLV. And talking now, obviously they do handle other visa applications, but we generally talk about, you know, the May 1 NLV when you move into Spain. And then obviously the last people to come on board were Manchester. Now Manchester, they changed the office address almost immediately after starting. London have just changed their office address as well. I don't think Edinburgh will, because their office is extremely adequate for the volume that they've got. But what it does mean is, after a bit of a hectic year, and you know, some clients which have been, again, groundbreakers, going expecting to go to a consulate and ended up in this new office, going into 2024, it looks like they're all set up, ready to rock and roll in their offices and handle the appointments. And looking at the appointment booking systems, at the moment, everybody is able to get an appointment the following week for the offices, which, going back through the shows, if you know, even this time last year, that there was always worries about when will documents expire, you know, stuff like that. And now with the website, which is still an awkward website to navigate, but they have actually got rid of some of the restrictions for foreign IP addresses, for example.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
That's improving as well. What we've been doing initially for people, because they do a photo verification, which means we can't book on behalf of people, but what I do sometimes is a screen share where people help them and just jump on the system and do it that way. But that is becoming, they are improving that as well. So, I mean, positive news from the BLS offices going into 2024 in terms of the availability of the appointments and where people go.
Excellent. Yeah, that does seem to have been a big improvement, and there's all this knowledge coming through, and this is one of the things we do regularly on the show, isn't it, on both of our channels. Let me just give your channel a plug, showing all of the, hang on, what's going, I can't share anything there. Let's get that up on screen. I've got a picture of your very own YouTube channel. There we go, which, as you can see, I can't see it very well from there, but you've got all of these updates that you do on a regular basis. Now, I can't read them, it's too small on my screen, but yeah, you do these absolutely regularly, and you do these little sort of 5-minute live things, don't you, where you're in place.
And they all come off the back of I'm hoping to do a lot more. So because I do these off the back of sort of FAQs when clients ask questions, because we use them a lot in our email templates and stuff as well. So what's that video you've got there without the thumbnail? I can't see it.
What's the one on yours? Oh, well, that's interesting. It's the second one along. Yeah, can't see it properly. It's not big. Let's just expand it on my screen so we can see it.
I'll have to check it out.
There it is. It's the road trip, day 5, to Cartagena to Almeria.
I'll have to check.
Yeah, check that one out. There we go. That's handy.
Yes, the little 5-minute videos which come are just punctual things which happen, and people ask us questions, and I think it's a good idea to get it out there. Apart from the fact it directs people to us, it's handy for people who watch the channel. And it's the questions. What we're noticing as well, since there's been a huge demographic change between Brexit and now. So we're talking about 2023, and 2023 has been the biggest year where prospective people moving to Spain. There's a lot of knowledge out there, and we're getting some extremely technical questions now, which people just wouldn't have asked. Which is great because it means it's the demographic of people who are moving over in their knowledge is a lot different to how it was when we started the NLB process. So it's more, you're not essentially telling people how to do things anymore because there's so much information out there that it's sort of the guidance and the more technical aspects surrounding the timing and the specifics of the documents, and that's what we're going to get out more on our channel as well. And it's quite fun, to be honest. It can be a headache, but it's as things change with the offices, they all have theirs. We know the nuances, we really enjoy getting those little short videos out.
Fantastic. Ant has said, all via Upsticks is watching both channels to up the numbers on both. That is lovely. Thank you so much on that. That's a win-win-win. Yeah, I've got a phone going as well as my computer, so very handy, so I can actually monitor it. But so that means you can watch what I think you might have to put the sound down on one, otherwise you'll get an echo. But there you go. It's all possible. Thanks for that. And okay, so as well as those updates, we did one called 4 years since Brexit. That was quite interesting. So that was a big 4-year thing going on. Where's that one? That looked like that. That was one of my favourite pictures. I always, whenever I mention Brexit on a video title, there's always some kind of disaster going on. And so, yeah, that was an Upsticks special as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed that video. It's a constantly developing thing, So immigration, moving to Spain. What we don't talk about that much either is like sort of the post-COVID world. So we are now way past COVID, but there's things which are stuck here, which are now, with the Spanish systems. One of them being in many police stations, they still don't let you in with people until they need you to go in.
Yeah.
Where that was never a problem before, So
it did take a long time to relax restrictions in the in the chemists and things like that.
Only this year. This year it was the masks, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then we've got the other thing we've been doing a lot of on here, and this is something that's changed at Upsticks, is the how to buy a car things, because you've got Lara, the delightful Lara, your wife, is kind of taking over that side of the business, isn't she?
She is, yeah. She's got now 15 registrations under her belt. And
that's not her in the picture, by the way.
No, that's not. I'll get you a picture of that. We have I didn't send you a picture of the Upsticks promo card, did I?
Oh, you did? Oh, well, I've seen it. I think I've seen it on your channel.
We'll have to send you that. So that's so that side of the business, the vehicle matriculations is something I did my first one in 2006, and something I've always loved, and it was always good business to have. But evidently, we've been focusing since Brexit on the NLVs and EU family members and stuff, and it's been everybody's been finding their feet, as you say, in this post-Brexit world of how they're going to run their business. And I always wanted to get that up and running a bit better, because we would do it for people who asked, but it's not something we would really particularly promote that much. And Lara, my wife, she worked in a school, and in the end, she got a little bit sick, really, as our kids got older and the kids she was looking after didn't.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, I'd love to come back to the adult world. I was like, well, here you go. And so she's running Upsticks Drive, and it's something that now we've got the new website coming for 2024. And
have there been a lot of changes in the system, in the process?
Not really. I mean, the biggest change really is for the British cars. Evidently, they have to go through customs. And it's the question, again, very much like the visas, is getting the timing right. Okay, so you've got the various taxes that you have to pay along the line. And there's a lot of people who don't understand how to weigh those taxes, even if they can. So people come over and think, oh, I'm going to buy a car in the UK, I'm going to bring it over, but you can't without paying taxes unless you've owned it for a certain amount of time, you know, stuff like that. The biggest problem has been getting the customs agents to actually understand documents that don't actually exist. So they request a thing called a bajo consular from our consulate, from the British consulate here in Spain. It doesn't exist, hasn't done since 2013. So every time you go in, you have to preempt that with letters and stuff saying we're giving you a different document instead of this. And but aside from that, no, the only other thing evidently is in certain areas of Spain, vehicles from the UK which have been registered after Brexit, albeit that they have EU conformity, are no longer considered as EU technically efficient to go for a test. So, which wasn't a problem in the first 2 years, but now people are trying to bring new cars over who aren't taking residency, for example, they can't pass the test.
Aha, there we go. So that was that one. Ken Skilling says, counting the days now until we begin our new life in Spain, boarding the Rosslare ferry on the 5th of January. Marvellous. Oh, that's going to be a bit chilly. I didn't know they did the ferries in January, because our one set off near the end of October. Oh, it's kind of near the beginning of October, and they said the last ferry leaves at the end of October. So maybe they've started doing them. There's obviously the need for it. So thanks, Scats, for helping make our journey so much easier. And Chris as well, of course. There you go. I've got just one little note here. Digital nomad visa. There's been a lot of happenings on that. That was at the very start of the year, I think, when that all came out.
Yeah. I mean, that's something we haven't ended up offering that as a service, to be honest, because the fact the capacity with NLVs and everything else we're doing, I don't have time to take myself out and work that out, really. But I know that Rochelle's been doing a blinding job with nomad visas, and we can thank her because we've been referring clients to her. I know she's been looking after them, especially visas. And there was, who else did you have on?
Louise Carr. This was the thumbnail from when Louise was on in October and Rochelle was on in July. So Rochelle did an update in July.
Yeah. And
filled in a lot of details, and then there were further updates. So Louise came on, and she's all part of this big network that's been growing up. I think that's something, certainly from my point of view, you were already in the network and the business first. A lot of these people are coming on next week's show, but this is something new for me this year. So it's good to see everybody, passing clients around, because there's just so many. You've got a waiting list for calls that you need to make to clients, and Rochelle was saying a couple of months ago her waiting list was March back then. No,
it's fantastic, because I mean everybody's, again, the way that the businesses have developed this year is people are focused on specific service products. I know Rochelle said she was specialising in digital nomads from Britain, I think, and then she was also referring to Louise. I think on the other side, we've got the Just Law, the lawyers, which when something comes into us, which maybe doesn't on a work platform, for example, over there, she understands the self-employment visas and stuff, so we always refer back to her. Then there's other people for things like arraigo, so people who might have been here illegally for 3 years now want to get the arraigo social. You found that there's all these pockets now of people who are specialising in specific subjects, and it's great. At least if they do come in to our network, that we can put them in the right hands if we can't do it ourselves.
Mm-hmm. It is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, we've got somebody for everything. And now I've got Lucia, the other Lucia. There's two Lucias, and she is a lawyer up in Barcelona, which is handy because a lot of the people that we know are in the south, really, all the way down from Valencia, right the way down to Cadiz. Really, that's the edge, and Huelva. So it's good to spread around the country.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's finding just a trusted network as well. So it's it's good to, and it's forever expanding. So it's exciting for 2024, isn't it? Really moving forward.
Very, very, yes. Oh, Robert has a question. Nothing new there. Chris, regarding the car registrations that you do, where do I have to take my car to get the plates changed once I've done all the documentation? And I assume once that is done, I need to book the ITV. There you go.
No, the ITV is done first. It depends on which way we do it. So if we need temporary plates for your car, the first thing you do is you do the import through customs, you apply for the temporary plates, you put them on the vehicle. That gives you then 60 days to drive around, fix everything else you need to do, pass the ITV. And then once you've got the ITV passed, you get your Ficha Technicas from the ITV. You can complete the final registration and you get your plates then. In terms of getting them actually put on, it depends how they currently put on your car. So if they're screwed on now, you can literally just undo the screws and put the new ones back on. Some people like to get a garage to do it. We do it here at the office if you can get here, but I don't think Robbo's going to be able to get down here to do that, so we'd find somewhere local.
And where do you actually, is it the same place where you get the actual plates from the ITV station, or do you have to go somewhere else?
No, they're basically, they are, I suppose you call them car spare parts places who are officially authorised by the DGT to print plates. They're very strict on it. You can't just go and say, I need another plate for this. We have to take in authorisation, client documents, etc., and give you the official invoice for the plates, because obviously it's all registered on a DGT system, how many people are making plates on what cars.
That's the same as in Ireland. I remember when I took one, got mine changed over in Ireland. Yeah, and it has to be done through the tax office as well. I think there's that was so I didn't have to pay the import tax from the UK because I'd owned the car for longer than 9 months, something like that. I didn't have to pay some kind of tax.
Which is essentially what we do here. We've changed the import agents we work with actually this year, because sadly Mariano, who was here from Malaga, independent, quite a young guy, really nice, but he collapsed his business and got a job basically. So we've started working with a firm in Barcelona who work on a national level, and so far so good. They've been great. We have a client, a manager there, so what they call an account manager. Contact them, and with Malaga, Almeria, Valencia so far with them. So touch wood, that will continue.
That's handy. And Terry Gibson says, hola, Scats and Chris. Laura's doing a great job of registration of our motorhome. Thanks to Upsticks for taking delivery of headlights, all fitted and working ready for ITV. I remember, last year or the year before, Chris, you said when somebody said motorhome, you went, no, stay away from motorhomes. So Laura's managing to get them through. That's amazing.
Yeah, Terry. Yeah, we've met Terry here. I've seen the motorhome, and I wasn't actually here when the lights came, but I turned when. Is MRW the company who delivered them? I phoned them 3 times. They're like, I'd just go away, basically. And I went, okay, I'm going to have to go and visit these. And I turned up at the office, and Jane went, I think the headlights are here. And it's this huge box. It was massive. So I'd like to say that it was my fault that they managed to deliver them properly. But I think it was just the Christmas hecticness they had on their sort of like, you get this with couriers at Christmas. They'll be like, it's somewhere else and it'll be on your desk, so it normally comes out in the wash if you give them a few days this time of year.
Or is it Lara? Has she just injected some kind of magic into the system and now everything's arriving on time?
Can I say that when Lara goes to the plates place, she gets them a lot quicker than what I did? And when we have the headlights fitted here as well, the guys around at the garage are like, "Oh, it's Lara. Don't worry, you get it changed one day." I'm like, "They was telling me to go away for 2 weeks. What's going on?" So, Lara, no, she's doing a good job. I think she's enjoying it as well. So the ITVs are going through well here in El Viso. We use the biggest station, and Tom, who you know as well, he does the ITVs for us. So yeah, it's all good. We're happy.
Yeah, cool. We'll be seeing everybody on the. We've got the Upsticks Christmas party next Friday. That's going to be fun.
Friday, yeah, we'll be 2 o'clock finishing work.
Yes, excellent. So one other video that was great, and somebody else who's in the network, of course, is the wonderful Antonio, and he did. What's the title of this video? What are the new autonomo fees? That's a new thing that happened at the very start of this year. Where's that gone? Oh yeah, it's the one right at the bottom. The rates of social security payments, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about that, but that's something that I had. Antonio's always busy on a Saturday morning, so I always have to record those shows. So it's a shame none of you on the live chat have been able to actually chat to him personally and ask the questions, which is a shame because he's a lovely man.
Yeah, he's with. I know that the rates are going to be in conjunction with your income. So if you earn more, you pay more. As far as I understand from Antonio, I was speaking to him because you do have the option as an autonomo to make more contributions towards your pension.
Yeah.
He said ultimately it is a positive thing because you'll be contributing towards your state pension as such. And it falls in line more with the contracted social security rate. So somebody who's contracted on X amount would pay more social security, and someone autonomo can elect to pay less. That's all extremely expensive.
Yeah.
It's in relation to that. So in theory, it is a positive thing because you contribute more, and if you're earning more, you should be able to afford it.
This is true. The thing is, if you're earning less and you end up paying less, I mean, it's not that much less than the 300 that was the sort of standard previously. But if you're paying less, then that means your pension's not getting topped up as much.
Yeah.
Which means you might have less pension at the end of the day.
And something to ask Antonio about, which I wasn't aware of actually the other day, was a friend of mine who's 10 years off of retirement and is sort of getting ready now and looking at his contributions in each area. They had a sort of an amnesty on the temporary contracts. I said, we've got to ask Antonio about this, which meant that they used to just your contributions, which is on a document called a vida laboral, shows what you've contributed. So, for example, if you've had a lot of temporary contracts, which happens a lot here in Spain, especially working on seasonal work, then those gaps when you didn't have the contract because you were officially made unemployed weren't counted even if you were taking like the unemployment benefit and stuff like that. But there was some movement by Sanchez's government, I think, to stop people losing their contributions who are on temporary contracts.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask Antonio because I'm not clear, but I know that when we checked mine and we checked Lars and we checked my friends, and they'd all jumped up like 3 years. So because in my early years here in Spain, I had a few temporary contracts when I was working in the hotels in Barcelona in 2001, and they cut you off and stuff like that. And so that's something for people who have got a history of working here. If you check your vida laboral, you should be closer to your minimum pension.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
He has done some good things. There's a lot of arguments around Sanchez at the moment with the taking on some of the Catalan separatists in order to get back in government, which is all very exciting. Keeps the news people in business, doesn't it?
It does. What channel you watch is highly different news for each channel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting like that, isn't it? It's polarized, just like the internet is so polarized on issues like that. And,
I need to give, while we're on the subject of Antonio and his office, need to give him a shout out. I saw you had it on your list here, so I might as well do it here. Was the driving licenses.
Yeah.
So you've had that, obviously, I think you've got a thumbnail for that. That's all.
Yeah. I'll find that.
And, but when that happened, we got together with Antonio's office and said, right, okay, well, we've got loads of people want to do it. You work directly with the DGT, and can we work out a way, the easiest and quickest way for people to exchange their licenses? And we put together a format where people just fill in a simple form, and basically they get a response. They send off all their details. They don't actually have to go to any offices, and they're receiving their licenses. And we've done 125 licenses with them, and it's worked really well. So I don't think Antonio's watching, but if he was, I'd like to thank him for that, because it's been a great collaboration.
Yeah, brilliant. No, he's usually got something on a Saturday morning. I think it's his martial arts. I think that's there. Yeah, so yeah, don't mess with Antonio. That's the message for today. And yes, so the driving license thing happened in 2022, but there's still been a lot of developments as 2023's gone along, hasn't there?
And it's worked well, as I say, we've still got people coming through. We actually had a couple come through because we wrote an article about it, and they came through our website and then they basically go into the platform where they can just send everything off and it comes back in our collaboration. So, it's worked well, and the DGT have responded well to the driving licenses and are getting them out quick. The only problem that people have is the postal address. And sometimes the DGT send it off to the wrong address, and then you have to order a duplicate to be held by the DGT and then go and pick it up. That's the only problem that we've had.
Oh, is that because you're not allowed to change your address after you've moved? And
they'll go on the Padron address. So people who live, like myself, who live in a place that doesn't receive post that well, the DGT sometimes, they also like to put their own spin on addresses for some reason.
Cool. So let's move to renewals. This was something that we had the big arguments on YouTube and on Facebook happened. I think it was very early this year. It might be in 2022 as well. But this was how to renew your visa. That you got all of the official information. I think it was right at the start of this year.
Yeah.
From the extranjerías. Where did that one come? Oh, visas and residencies. Is that the one? How to renew your visa. There it is. It's official, I said, because you got all of the official letters back from three of the ones on the south coast. Talking about, and of course, the issue was whether you needed double the amount when you were going for renewal, double the financial requirement. So we took everybody through that, didn't we?
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some, and I still to this day stick by my guns on what's needed for the renewals. To be able to, as we said, the very first thing is to be responsible and tell people not what you can get away with, but what you actually need to guarantee it.
Yeah.
And that came from a confusion where passive recurring income is different to renewable savings.
Yeah.
So, with many people just using savings for the renewals, evidently we spoke about them needing to have 24 months worth of EPREM. And then people with passive recurring, how to prove you've got that passive recurring, the fact that if you meet that minimum requirement, you don't need savings to top it up because it's counted as double. And then obviously you've got the people who combine both. So there's people who have savings and passive recurring. So, I mean, the good news is that the renewals, there's two things. The bad news for renewals is they are taking so long. Some of them are taking 4 months to come through.
Yeah.
The news is generally we don't even get a requirement letter anymore, and the ones that we do are answered quite quickly. We get them back quickly. So they are going through. I think we're on about 175 renewals now. So they've been going well. One of the problems has been the banks. So you're quite in your right to submit your documents up to 90 days after your card expires, but the banks are freezing people's accounts when their cards expire, albeit they've got proof they're renewing. That's what we've had a little bit of a problem with.
That's good to know. And we have a question from Russ. Good morning, Russ. Hi, I love the channel. Can you recommend a company for good private health cover for a couple? Well, I can recommend a very good broker whose name is underneath the video. It's Sam at samcampbellinsurance.com. And that's Campbell, CAMPBELL. And so I think I've spelt that wrong on the thing underneath. Anyway, no, I think that's right. So yes, speak to Sam. She's brilliant. She's one of the ones in the network. She was on my show 2-3 weeks ago maybe, and you'll be seeing her again on next Saturday's show. There you go. Morning from John McClue. And Ant is saying, how did the works do in Malaga go? It was in Marbella. Yeah.
Our network dude, that was good.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Yeah. I was the last man standing, or I wasn't standing very well by the end of it. I think I actually sent. I think there was, after you and Lara gave up the ghost.
Yeah.
I think we went to one more bar with Lucia and her husband, and when we left, I was staggering off, and she was a bit worried that I wouldn't be able to find my hotel. So she said, "Send me a message when you get there, so that we're not worried about you." And I woke up the next morning, and I'd put it on Facebook, on my Facebook page. I'm back at the hotel. So yeah, that just proves, and that was 5 o'clock in the morning. I posted that. So
wow, I don't know. I think I got back in about 2:30, 3. So
wow.
Yeah, it was a great evening. Real good atmosphere, nice food.
Yeah.
So it was. I really enjoyed it. It's nice at the end of the year to actually, because everybody's all year you're like that, aren't you? So it's nice just to chill out.
Yeah, and of course we've got your one on Friday. That's brilliant.
We will.
So we will. Shall we go to the halfway point? This stage that'd be good. Yes, why not? We'll have a short break, and we'll move on to any of the other developments that we've had this year. There's still a lot. But yeah, here we go. So our usual message, I've not made one for Christmas. Maybe I'll make a different one for next week, but as usual, I need to tell you all about all of the different services, and my alter egos need to have a word with you and tell you all about that. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Enjoy. This show is very helpful to you, isn't it? And you're enjoying it too. Then click on the thumbs up, you lazy colonel. I don't have any thumbs. You can use your nose, Doogie. And don't forget to subscribe as well. And rub on the bell for notifications while you're there. It's all free. Information is valuable. I need a coffee to keep my pecker up. So why not show your appreciation by buying us a coffee or 3? There's a link in the video description below. No! Use the QR code. I own the company, you know. No, you don't, Colonel. It's there for the whole show, sweetie. Just point your camera phone at it. But wait! If you think all the help and information and entertainment you get here is worth more than just a few coffees, you can support YouTooSpain with a regular monthly amount. You're not getting my money! You don't have any, Colonel. You live in a hostel. There's a link to Patreon, where you can find out what extra groovy movies you get by helping out. Oh, I'm all a quiver. One more thing. Get on with it. There's a guest waiting. Goodness knows why. The beautiful watchers are waiting too. And the ugly ones. That's enough, Colonel. There are lots of vital things that YouTooSpain gets you access to. And discounts too. What things, Master? I like things. Well, do you need private healthcare insurance? Of course I do. This gout won't go away on its own, you know. Do you need a visa or residency, sweetie? Do you need to exchange currency? What about finding a property like mine? It's huge and expensive. Just like me, darling. Ah! Or do you need advice on tax and pensions? I don't know what they are. Or do you want a Spanish mortgage? Or a discount on getting documents translated and apostilled? Or a lawyer to sort you out? I didn't do it, wasn't me. Do you need a lovely little app for learning Spanish? How about finding the best mobile phone provider? Buy a YouTooSpain t-shirt. It's a win-win-win. You can even get discounts on full mouth dental treatment and get a new smile just like Scats. Smile! All of the links are here, down below, sweetie. If you can't find them, ask me in the comments. Are you finished yet? I need to go and kick some servants. He's not a very nice human. No, he's not. But let's get back to the show, shall we? Back to Scats in the studio. That was my line. Oh, stop being beastly and be a good little boy. I am a good boy. You are, Doogie. Back to you, Scats. I am a good boy. I like Doogie. Shall we have Doogie on the show next year? No, not next year. Next week. I think we should get him on live. And so thanks to Walter and Dick and the Colonel. Need to go and kick some servants. That's my favourite line. So where were we? What else happened? Let's move. All the way back up here again. We've talked about the digital nomad visa, driving license. Yes, is it now easier to apply for? This is something that you don't do that Rochelle does a lot, I think, and also Louise Carr. But it's changing over from the non-lucrative visa to the working visa or self-employed visa. Is now slightly easier. I think there was a rule change earlier this year which said if you're applying through when you're in Spain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so we don't do them, so I don't know. It'd be great if anybody who watches the channel could give us some info and let us know how it's going. Because I still haven't seen any successful ones come through, to be honest. But I know that it is easier for people who are here actually on an NLB, then they kind of sort of skip that have to qualify from outside the country, as a highly qualified person. They go into the normal, shall we say, work categories. It's extremely hard to get a job if you're an EU citizen, so let alone the commitment from a company to give you a contract which allows you to do that. But it would be very interesting if maybe we could have an update from clients or even Rochelle on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the rule that changed was to make it slightly easier was if you're already living here on the non-lucrative visa, for example, you didn't have to fulfill the requirement of the company that is your prospective employer advertising the job to everybody in the EU before you first, if you're a Brit. So you could apply because you're classed as being resident in the EU, then you could apply just on the same terms as everybody else. So it's easier to get a job, although of course you've got to find a job in the first place, which isn't always easy.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Did I read that we're at 13% unemployment at the moment, which is low for Spain? I think it was. I read there. I mean, we've been at the high 20, over 20%.
Yeah, I saw it at 25%. Well, that's what people were saying on Facebook a lot. Oh, it's at 25%. You'll never get a job. Of course, you get that on Facebook all the time when somebody says, I want to move to Spain and get a job. And yeah, everybody says, 25% unemployment, you can't do that anymore. So there you go. That's the naysayers. We like to give a positive spin on things and say, and so this was good news for people who are saying so, a good forward plan. Be in Spain for a year, have a long-term plan, do a non-lucrative visa and take the time to find the right job or to develop a self-employed business or bring the self-employed business that you had in the UK. So yeah. And
let's be honest, I mean, the last, and I think we will see the demographic of jobs which is available in the whole world with the introduction of AI and other things, it's completely different, isn't it? The market in Spain is different. We've got here, and obviously we've got the technical tech park here in Campanillas next to us, and they're absolutely rammed full of tech companies. Google now coming there. Who knows what sort of what we're in for in these next 5 years. It's quite exciting.
Yeah.
Because your typical, maybe there's a lot bad pre-Brexit. I'm going to come over and we're going to start a firm doing maybe something manual. Maybe that's changing as people are moving more into tech as well. So and then that's leaving a gap in the market for other things. So I think it's on the job front. I think especially in Andalusia, we're in for an exciting 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 30, 40 years ago, Andalusia was just farming communities, wasn't it? And it was tourism and then low unemployment, high unemployment for everybody else.
Well, yeah. all my friends when I first moved here, we were living in Barcelona, working in the hotel industry, were from Andalusia because it doesn't work here. And my son Raul, he's named after one of my best friends who I met down there, and he's I can't believe, but it's changing. It's changing. Like when our kids go to a public school here, and there's loads of parents who work like Oracle, for example, outside of French people come over to work. Okay, they don't have a third country national passport, but we know there's people come from the States to work there. I think Andalusia is in for very exciting times.
Brilliant. It is. Yeah, I think so too. Oh, Ant is just talking about the party again. Said you're chosen wisely in staying in a hotel post-due. Can't imagine driving back up to Compito worse for wear, especially from Marbella. I mean, it's even when the roads are clear, it's well over an hour and a half. And no, I wouldn't do that anyway. And I think maybe the fact that I was staying in the hotel contributed to the amount that I had extra. Because I was totally relaxed about the whole thing. So.
Yeah, we stayed as well. We didn't come back to Malaga. We were not, you'd never want to do that. So luckily we found that parents could babysit, so that was good.
And John McClue says, going up to Murcia to pick up our TIE card next week. Cheers, Chris.
John, who evidently was the trailblazer in Edinburgh.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
I think I had a photo. He sent me. I've got a photo here somewhere. I stood outside, and it was.
Is that BLS, the
BLS,
first one in?
Yeah, first one in. Well done, John. So it's a big move for John, and being the first one as well. Fantastic.
Excellent. Ant says, how's the script working out today? Yeah, script's all over the place because there's so much happened, and all I've got is kind of a few notes and loads of pictures all over the place of what we've done. So we're just winging it this week. We'll try not to go on too long. I could take like 3 hours on this, but there's other things to do. There's a Christmas to celebrate. So let's move on to the S1. That's something that has changed a bit this year, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. So I mean, the S1, people are moving with the S1 and successfully. The good thing is with the S1 now is that if you call them on the phone to order it, they're sending them through via email, which means that albeit that you'll get an original sent out to you, you can send that to us and we can start the pre-registration process here. We call it pre-registration. It's not actually pre-registration. It's a full registration with missing documents because you can't do it, but you need that document to get the consulate. We finalise that once people are here in Spain. I mean, again, how's it changing? Now what's changing is that people's main concerns post-Brexit was, can I use an S1 to get a visa? Now it's, how do I use an S1? So I did a video recently, and we want to focus next year a little bit more on, what happens when we know that you can use the S1 to get a visa. It's brilliant. But what happens when you actually get here? You need to register with a doctor. Because it is a means to getting healthcare, but there's so little information about, feedback from people who've actually used them in the public service. So that's one of our huge focuses for 2024 is to actually start getting that sort of information out there as well.
And of course, all of the doctors look like the one on this thumbnail.
They do. Yeah, yes.
Mine doesn't. She looks like that, but with dark hair. So there you go. Not far off.
I say mine doesn't, definitely, but But yeah, I mean, I think there's, and it's great, but they are coming through now. Some areas are responding a lot quicker than others. So once you've been to your TIE card appointment or you've got your EU residency, then you have to complete the S1 registration. And some places are taking 2 weeks, some places are taking 4 months. You know, so but hey, the good news is it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got in my notes here the challenges of buying a house. That's not something that you deal with, but do you know of anything that's changed in that? This is a video I did only a few weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, we don't really deal with the house, but what we have seen is in Mercia, we've seen an awful lot of problems with people buying on the military ground, having to get these background checks, which seems to put a stumbling block with things. And I mean, it's when people are buying properties in the middle of getting the visa that it tends to be quite awkward at times, because you can never predict how long these things are going to take. So, you know, it's having your bases covered. Maybe some people are having to rent, but then they want to rent one of the biggest problems is when someone's buying during the visa process and the completion's not happened. So once they get their visa, they can't move in. Where do they live? Or get temporary accommodation. But in some areas, you need permanent accommodation to register your visa. And some areas you don't. So that's our daily bread when we're talking to clients, if you know what I mean. So, and it's the kind of thing where that's where we get involved. But yeah, and obviously the housing market this year just kept going like that, didn't it? And I'm expecting it, hopefully, might go down.
Yeah, it's definitely not like the 1990s when you could get a house for 30,000 and you know, do it up, and you know, now some of those places are worth $500,000.
Yeah, no, it's definitely changed, and but again, that means that people are exploring other areas, you know, in Spain, which is great, because there's areas that may not have had investment and now getting it, which probably annoys people who live there locally because their prices are going up. But...
Yes, as always. And it's been continuous development. The first time that I was aware of Spain and coming across from France on a camping holiday, we went along the north coast, and going past Santander and Bilbao, I just took one look at it on the coastline. Just looked like crane after crane after crane going there, and industrial parks, and I just thought, I don't like it. I really didn't like it. It wasn't until we got about halfway along the coast when it turned to green and mountains, and I thought, well, you know, I like that a lot, but it was raining even in the summer up there, so
there's a lot. I mean, if you're here in the Costa del Sol, there's so much development going on at the moment. I don't know how, with all this, I mean, if interest rates are as high as what they are and borrowing money costs what it does, I'm looking at all this going on and thinking, you know, where's this coming from? It's crazy. It obviously is.
Yeah, there's obviously still money about. And I know that Brits are still buying properties even in spite of Brexit. And the extraneous areas are full of people, are full of Brits getting their TIEs, and the visa places, BLS is absolutely packed every day, isn't it, with people applying for visas?
Yeah, I sent you that photo, didn't I, from our client Wendy, who gave some great intel. She was sat in the office and said, "I'll take some photos for us in the brand new London one," which means I'm going to do a trip in another video now, but at some point. But it was packed, and also other nationalities. I mean, one thing with getting the cars on board again and having Upsticks drive is like we're getting. I think we've only done like 3 cars from the UK, and that was going to be our main focus with the visas. And everything else is we've had from Serbia, through Rochelle, actually, I have to thank you for that one, through the network. We've had Latvia, from Belgium, and it's all people moving here. We haven't quite found us, and we're actually doing an Italian residency next week for somebody who came in through the car route. So, and they're coming through from Italia. So there are, we focus a lot, obviously, on the Brits. But there's a lot of other nationalities moving as well, again, because they are working digitally. You know, so...
it is all so exciting, isn't it? And you keep doing these road trips. I've just put that one up on screen because that was the recent one, and you reported on from Murcia, Almeria, and Alicante up in that direction. But you've done them all around, and you keep going to the UK to go to the to BLS now and the consulates before. So we've been getting all of the updates, straight from the horse's mouth, which is brilliant.
Yeah, and we'll continue as much as I can do. We'll continue to do that. So I think it's being on the ground helps. It helps us to expand the network, get the information firsthand from places, and so we'll as much as we can do. Between working, we'll be doing that.
Yes, indeed. And the shows have been getting more and more like that, I think, as time has gone on. We used to have a fixed show which was about just one aspect of the non-lucrative visa, and we'd just talk about that on the show. And it's I had a fairly fixed script in the early days, but we've been getting a lot more chatty and a lot more general, and there's a lot more chat coming through on the live chat, and also it means that the people coming on the live chat, you lovely people, you get to know my guests better instead of just giving you information, and it's growing into one big family. Lots of you are watching the whole show, which is lovely. Like Ant said before, he's actually watching it on 2 different screens, and it's so heartwarming to have you all here on the live chat. And afterwards, the people watching back afterwards, we don't get to chat to them properly, but do put your chat comments in the comments below. And I think we'd started off being chatty, but I think it was when you had Bill Anderson on the show. Where's his picture? I've got to put him up there. He is... You introduced me to Bill, didn't you?
Yeah, Bill's a great guy. I met him through business first, and we did a lot together through Brexit. And he's,
there he is.
8-time author of books. His last book is extremely funny. I would definitely recommend it, and I think he's just releasing the next one of the series.
Yeah, he's released 2 this year. That's amazing.
Really funny. I haven't got to the end of it. I've got to about halfway through it because it's like time to read and all that. But I've read some. I read some this holiday break I've just been on, and it's very satire. But it is funny from coming from Bill's perspective. Someone who's lived here for a very long time, knows both angles. Been, the first, I think, British councillor in UCAS, and he's also very good when it comes to the Spanish community. It's a great sort of book to read, to understand.
Yeah, and he's a fabulous raconteur, and I think that's made me want to do chat shows more, really, and more of these general, and finding out the personalities of all of the guests. It's wonderful, and I think next year there's going to be more of those chats which are just general, talking about people's experiences of moving, and I think you're doing that on your channel as well, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I want to do. So I wanted to do basically a podcast. That's what I want to do. Obviously, I want you to be on there as the first one. That'd be my plan.
Absolutely.
And again, it's all time constraints because we do have to work as well. And this is, I think it's more, and as you know, in these videos, if any, I get excited when people talk about the requirements of things change. So, and I love talking about that. But we can still do that, as I sometimes delve into it now and then if someone's got a question. But people now, as we say, are as interested in making sure, not just getting here, but making sure they've got the right area, what are other people's experiences up to renewals. I mean, we're going to come up next year, we're going to be doing the second renewal for people. So there's people now looking at the permanent residency, which seemed something which was a million years away, didn't it? 2 years ago when we first started these shows.
Yeah.
So all this experience, this post-Brexit experience, let's say, basically is all coming into play now. And it's a different world, and I think it's great just to get out there.
Absolutely. Ant is saying, we really enjoyed your recent 5-day road trip, Chris. And as you're a big foodie, it would be great to see the Menú del Día you dine on too going forward. That would actually be a good road trip to do. Just try and go around for a week doing Menú del Día every day. Although I'm not sure you can get them some places. I know here you can't get them at the weekend.
Well, I mean, you can't get the weekend, but that's another thing that's happened in 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
We lost the Menu del Dia here in Spain. People say you didn't, but we did. When I first came here to Spain, nearly 24 years ago now, it was Menu del Dia was a staple part of everything you did if you worked.
Mm-hmm.
If you worked, if either your work provided you with the food, or you would go for Menu del Dia. Right? Mm-hmm. Now they don't do. There'd always be a bottle of vino and gaseosa, especially in Catalonia. You wouldn't have that now so much. But and when we had the economic boost here, and everybody found themselves with quite a bit more money, before the collapse in 2008, we seemed to lose it. It became a little bit of a actually I can afford a menu, not Menu del Dia type thing. Mm-hmm. Shame. And then when the economy collapsed, we didn't really see them. And now for some reason, we're seeing these resurgence of all the restaurants doing a Menu del Dia, like where we're going to go next Friday. We have a different one, but they do one every day at €10, and I just feel it's come back a lot more, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's and people are putting their own spins on it as well. So if you can get out into any of like the barrios in Malaga or the big cities, like I did a video where I was in Algeciras. And I had a Menu del Dia there for €8. Excellent. Like extra sin alcohol beer, and it came in at like $9.60. It was 3 courses, and I don't have desserts. I have a coffee. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on, what kind of experience? So yeah, we'll try and get more of that on. But I'm very happy about the Menu del Dia coming back. Yeah,
me too. There we go. So, what other shows have we had on here? I got some of my favourite shows actually. One of the most recent ones when we did together the horror stories. Where's this? This was a good thumbnail as well. There you go. Moving to Spain horrors. And that you were on that show, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, it took. Well, my kids decided to make it.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. That was fantastic. We had them running around in the background in the outfits.
But that has excited my son Raul to now help me with the channel. I could say he's getting involved with me now, giving me tips, because obviously all kids of his age love YouTube, and he's gone into, after that show and he saw himself on it, and he said, "There's a lot of things you need to improve, Dad." I'm like, "Okay, I'll run with you. You can be our technical director on the channel."
Excellent. Oh, that's good to see.
So, but yeah, that was great. It took us a long time to get the makeup off, though. After that.
Yeah. No. Fortunately, I just went for the mask, because I was going to. I bought the costume not just for that show, but for a gig that I did, and I thought, if I have to put makeup on first thing on a Saturday morning and then take it off again to do whatever I did in the day and then put it back on in the evening, so I bought this kind of veil mask that just made my whole face black, and that was much better. But it was very hot when I wore it at the gig. I was sweating inside this thing. I had to take it off eventually. So that was one of my horrors. But we had some great horror stories from people on there.
Yeah,
on that one.
It's always good to have every angle.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that could have been a horror story for me as my story was, I finished off what I started in 2022 and had my teeth finished. So that was, I think, February. Those aren't my teeth. Those are pictures from other people from the same dental clinic, Crooke Dental Clinic. So that was something exciting for me this year. Got my smile back. That was at the very start of the year. So I've had nearly 12 months of loveliness with that. And Liz has been on a slightly different journey. My wife, for those of you who don't know, she's had orthodontics done, which is where you get these plastic inserts, and it changes the shape of your teeth gradually. That you get a new one every week, and it just puts your teeth in the right position, because there was nothing actually rotten about her teeth. They were just all jumbled up. So she started that back in November 22, and she's not going to finish that until about February of next year. So her journey was a lot longer, whereas mine was over the course of 2 or 3 months altogether, and that's a long time for what I had done, So yeah, that was one of the big changes for me.
And that's what. So one of the other things that came up when we were talking at the business first meal, wasn't it? It was saying about I recently had an experience. My glass, well, you can see my glasses are still broken. I'm picking up the new ones today.
Yeah.
And it's like, even after 24 years going to the opticians for the second time now, because I didn't need glasses before, now my prescriptions changed quite drastically. For me, it was a stressful experience speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, I couldn't imagine. It's something that would never cross my mind. Clients, especially of our demographic, we generally have to have retirees who need glasses.
Mm-hmm.
What that experience would have been like for one of our clients. It really highlighted it for me, because I'm thinking, I speak Spanish and it's stressful because I don't know the difference between these lenses, although I understand what you're saying. And they gave me a sort of a really naff selection of frames to go for, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of info that I think we'll always expand on and try and get out there, because it just comes into your mind, but not until it happens to you, does it?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Sean from Expat in Matharon is on. Hi guys, sorry I'm late. That's no problem. I'll have to get back on your channel as well, Sean. I've not. We did say sometime early this year, let's get back on. But
I have
looking
to
forward to
thank
that.
Sean for that. I saw my recent video on the channel. Sean took, I think it was 6 hours out of his day from his family to show me around half of Mercia, really.
Yeah.
I got. There's still 3 more videos to come out, but I did a big one of us just going around, and Sean introduced me to Campbell, so I have to give him a big shout out. Thank you for that.
Brilliant. And Bill Anderson is on. He said he had to turn the brightness down on the screen when you smile. Here we go. Here's a big one there. And good morning. He said, good morning, Tom, you both. I think that's just meant to be 2. That's the spell checker. That's causing disasters again. You must have terrible problems with spell checker, Bill. Writing so many books. Do you have to get somebody else to check them? You have to get a human, presumably, to do that. And lots of them.
Yeah, definitely. If you need a Christmas present, send Bill's book.
Yeah, one of the 2. I've not read either yet. I must get a hold of them. That's something nice to read when the show stops next week and I'm not making any more videos for a few weeks. That'll be lovely. So I'll get a hold of that. Yes, Sean says must sort out a chat in the new year. Absolutely, yes. Love to get back on Expat in Matharon. Another one I liked doing, one of the Wednesday videos. We've not really talked about the Wednesday videos, but there's been some fun ones. I did. Why is Spain so noisy? I think there's a lot of irony in the videos that I make on Wednesdays. It's a lot different from the chat. If you're the sort of person who's only watching the Saturday ones, then have a look at the selection of the ones on Wednesday. So I don't always take myself completely seriously. Although this one was in response to a lot of people saying, "Oh, dogs barking at night and roadworks and all kinds of stuff going on." So that was good, and it's got my alter egos on there. Yeah, good fun. And the solution to dogs barking is get your own barking dogs. That's what we've done. So we're just as noisy as the neighbours now. It's fabulous. And I think everybody should have dogs.
I think if you live out, I mean, I don't know about, we live out in the country a little bit, and there's sort of there's a little bit of an understanding, whereas, you know, you don't really, even if you make noise, really loud noise, like we did when you came to take part in play, no one says anything because it's only, but then when someone else makes a lot of loud noise and has a party, then they don't say anything to you. So there's a sort of as long as it's not like at 12 o'clock at night on a Monday, it's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. The Spanish people know how to party, and we thought, you know, when we got here, the guys down the hill from us, they have some big parties, and they do go on quite late, you know, even 2 or 3 in the morning. But then we thought, well, that means that we can sit on our balcony and play loud music if we want, and that's all right. And once you realise that it's not very often, and you know we don't do it very often either, but then it's all right. And Computer's a bit of a party town anyway. There's always music going on at, you know, certainly at Easter and Christmas, and over the summer. There's something on in some of the plazas and some of the restaurants that you can hear from our house. So it's just something that you get used to, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's all part of the culture, and it depends again where you live. You know, if you live in a in a block of flats, then there's certain restrictions you have to adhere to. If you live somewhere slightly out, then again, it's where we used to live, which was like a terraced house community. Everybody was very respectful most of the time, but then when they did have the Christmas parties, you'd never stick your head over the wall and go, "Can you shut up, please?" Because they got the family there. But it'd be more likely that they come and knock on the door and say, "Haven't you heard the noise? Why haven't you come round yet?"
Yes.
That would be the more, what would happen. They'd be like, "Well, they wouldn't invite you, so you heard the noise, you should have been round." I'm like, "Oh, so I didn't want to interrupt." They're like, "No. So it's it's I mean, the sense of family community, especially this time of year, is amazing. Something where, as a family, we're very fortunate to have a lot of good friends who are Spanish around us, and forever just including you and stuff. It's great.
Fabulous. Yeah, so what else did we have? Let's just take that one down. We've had money saving videos and help with your shopping. We did comparing prices. Prices have changed a lot in the last year, haven't they? That's another thing. So there's been people with money problems everywhere, but there's all kinds of shows we've done with people in different parts of Spain sharing what you can do to get your shopping bill down, really.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Yeah, so shopping's gone up. It's not. See, petrol's come down lately, but shopping's gone up. It's no way of dressing that up. Wine's still cheaper, but shopping's gone up.
I think wine will always be cheap, otherwise there would be a revolution. That would be, yeah. Yes, indeed. But yeah, we've been very lucky in Spain, I think, with the price of fuel for cars.
Yeah.
I think the government did
It's 20 cents, didn't we, for a while?
We did, yeah, an extra 20 cents off the prices, and the prices were lower. I mean, I saw people in the UK what they were paying. It was mad, massive prices. They went over £2 a gallon. What is it? How do they do it? A pint? I don't know what they do anymore.
I paid for the first time in a while. I paid less than £1.40 for petrol. It was like £1.39.99, I think.
Yeah.
Around the Gibraltar area, actually, on our way back. This yesterday, which I haven't seen for ages. So
we've got one down the bottom of as you go down to Algarrobo Costa. There's a self-service petrol place, and that's been 137.9 for a few days.
Oh, is it?
So yeah, and there's one this side of Malaga as well, which is usually really, really cheap. There's a website you can go on where you find out what the cheapest one is in your area. You just put in where you are, and it finds the cheapest fuel. So sometimes you might have to drive out to it, which kind of defeats the object. But if there's one nearby, whenever we go shopping, we kind of go past that one. So it's really handy to know.
Yeah, that's a good. I didn't know there was a website you could do that. That's good.
Yeah. I'll find it and share it with you.
Yeah.
There we go. So what else have we done? I went all newsy for a while earlier this year and did loads of these news videos, and that's where Doogie Dog came in, I think. Where is he? Let's get a picture of Doogie. We've not had him on the screen. Well, you saw him in the halfway thing. So he reported on all kinds of things. All the new train systems. I tell you what, that's they say that it's usually dictators that make the trains run on time, but where Sanchez being a bit more left-wing than that, he seems to have done marvellous things with the trains. I don't know if it's him who's done it or his transport secretary or whatever they call them, but there's so much going on, and they're now talking about these trains going from Barcelona to loads of places in Europe as well, with the overnight sleeper expresses and things. So there's a lot going on with public transport. I think it's making it really, really easy, and especially out from Malaga, you can get up to Madrid really quickly now.
Yeah, need to try that. I know that. Well, the bus network very good. Like companies like Alsa, you can get anywhere, but I've never really explored the trains. The only time I tried was when I was trying to get that they had that cheap ticket thing where you could get a trip for like a £5. I tried, but I was in the waiting list and didn't get through. Yeah, I mean, the train network here is fabulous. And if you live somewhere close to one of the main towns, especially main cities like Malaga, you can get anywhere.
So that was some of the good news that happened this year. The toll roads, there is news that there are going to be all of the big main dual carriageway motorway things are going to have tolls on them. That's something that's been planned for a long time, but Sanchez kind of put a delay on it, so it's not happening right now. So that's the news that we were reporting on the toll roads. And Mr. Lower Largo's talking about petrol prices there. Petrol prices, oh no, that's a different one. Petrol prices in UK are the same as here, that is in litres. I see, yes. So that makes it more expensive, I think. Oh yeah, and it says here's the average is 170, 175 per litre diesel. That's at the cheaper shops here in France. We saw 150 in a recent video of yours, Chris. Yeah, I'm getting 140 or less in this area, certainly right now.
This is where you've got more of the shorts things than me. You know, on your channel, I don't really understand the shorts yet that well, but that's something that you can put up on your channel sort of as a, instead of landscape, it's portrait, isn't it?
Portrait, yeah.
So if I'm like driving home and see something interesting, instead of sit down and make a full video of it, just do a quick 30-second, price today type thing. But
yeah, and they're really easy to edit as well on your camera.
I'm sort of learning with my son at the moment. We did one, and on Canva, and he was like, right, you've got a template now, but it's not for that. He said, you're trying to do a video in the short. I'm going, I don't know. But anyway, we'll get there, but I suppose that's the kind of thing we've got to explore for 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. And they can be huge, you know. The one of the most famous YouTubers is Joe Sugg, who was on Strictly Come Dancing as a contestant, as a celebrity. He was one of the first kind of online media people, you know, influencers who went on that show as a celebrity because he had so many million followers. And now he's doing the vlogs for Strictly Come Dancing. He's actually on that show, and there's eventually next year he's talking about, which he's announced on his vlogs, that he's going to be doing a show before Strictly Come Dancing on the BBC, which is, you know, so it's him on camera doing his vlogs as well. But he does these shorts, and he does very short videos, and he's been doing them on his phone and editing them on his phone, and he's been doing one a day. I think he's called it Vlogmas. So it's his Christmas. He's doing one of those every day, and those can be so successful. You know, it's just him chatting to camera.
Yeah, so definitely something to explore, because it's. I mean, again, it's. I think as you get more used to it and a bit better with what you're dealing with, it takes less time, doesn't it? But
yeah,
if it's something that you think is punctual, that you can just get out there quickly, then it's a good way to get it out there, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was a new thing for 23, and it's going to be. We'll do it even more in 24. I took one of my videos, which was where there was really short things. I think it was like a top tips or something like that, where every top tip was only about a minute long. And after I'd made the video, I then chopped it into little bits and put them out as shorts as well to refer back to the other video. And that worked really well for one or two of the shorts. I got 1,000, 2,000 views on it. But the other ones just... because not all of the topics were as interesting as the first two. Those ones didn't work. So it can go either way, really. Because you don't want people to look at your channel and go, oh, only 10 people watch that one. Then it makes the rest of the channel not look as good. Whereas if you show them the 2,000 one and they go, oh, that must be good. Because I always look at how many people have been watching on videos to say, well, that must be good. Then if 20,000 or 2 million have watched it, then it must be good. And of course, once you get beyond a certain number down on the bottom of the video, once you get up to 1,000, it just says 1K, and then instantly you get more people watching because it goes up the rankings, and people can see it as the recommended videos down the right hand side when they're looking. So yeah,
that's good. I always had a plan, because we send people a glossary in our little information booklet, but the glossary is the terms that you'd never see, like IVTM for car tax and stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff to get used to seeing when you come to Spain, but it's not in any Spanish lessons type thing.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I could do a series of shorts on them, because I'm assuming that you can just record them back to back and then just time them out, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I think one of the ones I chopped up was this one, because this was really funny. Holiday Complaints by Brits,
Yeah.
which was basically just, I grabbed, there's some very, very good ones that you can find on YouTube and on Facebook. There's lists of them that I've got these brilliant. And I took all of these lists and I put them together in one video, which that was successful. And of course they were all little short complaints with all of my characters, including the one you can see in the picture there. I think that might be the Colonel or Tommy. I can't tell. But there you go. Very successful stuff. And Ant is saying, oh yeah, during the French holidays, public holidays, they always lower the prices for a short time. Do they do that in España? They don't do it in the summer.
I don't think so. I don't know. That might be why I got it cheaper yesterday. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. I know
There you go.
they have cheap electricity prices at the weekends, and usually cheaper on a Sunday. We've been looking every single day, because we put our washing in the washing machine when it's the cheapest, you know, and you get it cheaper in the afternoon between 2 and 6, and then it goes up to a high rate when everybody comes back from work. So, but on Sundays tends to be cheaper, sometimes on Saturdays, and on public holidays. Yesterday it was down to 0.02 per unit, which is really, really, really cheap. People in the UK are going to be going, what? That's no way, we never get that. They're talking about, you know, anything up to 50 pence a unit for electricity. It's ridiculous, but we do get it cheaper in Spain, definitely.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but I don't. But no, electricity certainly. But I don't know about fuel prices. You'd think it would go hand in hand, but I know.
That's a good point to look out for. I'll be thinking about that next time we've got the. When's our next bank holiday? Well, next official one's Christmas Day, I think. So that's
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. There's a few coming up, and the King's Day. Yeah. So, what else has changed? Oh, the 90-day rule. I did the whole of November for my channel was all about. Well, certainly on the Wednesdays was the 90-day rule. I did a what is the 90-day rule? Then I did a 90-day. Is there New Hope? And then a 90-day update was this one, talking about what happened in France, and was Spain going to do the same thing? Because in France they have a tourism extension visa where you can apply. You have to pay for this, obviously, to get an extension on your holiday. So you can go up to 180 days, all in one group, without breaking the Schengen 90-day rule. And so, and I think France, what they were trying to do was some of the MPs, whatever you call them, the ministers, were saying, well, can't we make it easier for British homeowners, people who've got their second home in Spain? Why can't we just say they've got an automatic visa extension so that they can come like that? So the people who are campaigning for the same thing to happen in Spain got very excited. So I produced this video, the update, New Hope for Brits, and then I carried on. So I did 4 in a row, actually. So the virtually the whole of November, I think, was a massive, and that was this one. I think was my biggest video to date. It's done about 21,000. So yeah, there was big excitement about that, and I think the decision about it, which is probably going to be a negative decision about giving the automatic extension in France, is going through the French Parliament now to see whether it's going to get voted in. But the ruling party and the President and the Prime Minister, they don't agree with it. So there you go. But we'll be reporting on that. And the person who's doing the campaign, it's the 180-day something campaign, I'm going to get them on the show, I think, early in the year, and we'll talk about it and see how it's gone, because obviously a lot of people want to know about this.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else on the script? There's not very much else to talk about. I did talk about expat versus immigrant quite a lot. I'm always doing this, and then I put out this this one last week, which was clickbait to the extreme, and this is the one that happened in the place where you've just been. Expats die in terror incident, which actually in the papers it was emigrants and immigrants dying in, and they didn't mention terror. I just painted it the way that the newspapers, the tabloids might paint it if it was people coming from Africa, and I made it about expats. So, and that got some interesting trolls talking about it and having a go at me. So there you go.
I haven't had a chance to read the comments on that one. I did see the video, but I haven't read the comments yet. So.
Yeah, have a drink first before you read them. It's always the same ones that come on, and then I lost a few subscribers over it, but it's probably the subscribers that have subscribed for these kind of videos in the past, and they've just gone, no, I don't like him anymore, don't want to watch this. But I got some extra subscribers, so yeah. It was funny, I went to over 7,000 and then I went below, and then I went over and then I went below, and it was just bouncing up and down between. I was expecting to get the notification, you've gone through 7,000, and then I was expecting to get another 3 or 4 of those, but there you go. So that's been my November, and I'm not going to do any for a little while, because it makes you feel so negative, because you have to read all of these comments. It's the hazards of having a YouTube channel where you're challenging people's preconceptions, and so I think I'm gonna give it a break. I might do one this week. I actually bought a little kit, one of those the things you get for children, where it's like a road on a piece of paper with roundabouts on it, and I'm going to talk about how to use the roundabouts in Spain with some little cars. And I'm just going to make it a little live one on the kitchen table, and I think that'll be a nice fun one to do before Christmas, I think. Yeah. And it's just going to end up a big crash with loads of vehicles falling off the table and knocking over pedestrians and things like that. So yeah. It'll be heavily. I've
got one recorded which I haven't published yet, which is how many zebra crossings do you actually need?
Oh yeah, and they always put them as you come out of roundabouts. So you're thinking you've just been looking over your shoulder to make sure that especially if you're in the inside lane, and you have to move to the outside lane, and then you have to put your indicator on again to turn right off the roundabout. But you've got to watch if there's anybody coming in on the outside lane that you're not supposed to be, cutting across them to go to your exit. And
it's I said, if we leave the office and go to the school, I think I counted, it's 2.3 kilometres, and I think I counted something like 24 zebra crossings or something.
Oh, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
I'd love to, but I can't find every single thing is written in the Bowie somewhere, or the law, or there's a ruling or something like that. And I'd love to find, because I'm watching them build these houses across me. Right, I can see where they put, the dips in the pavement for the zebra crossings.
Yeah.
You can see them every 4 meters. Well, not quite, but might as well be.
Yeah.
I'd love to find the rule, which is the homologation or whatever it is that dictates how they do that. So if anybody does know, Bill might know. If Bill's still watching, Bill, where do I find this information out? Where when someone does town planning, how on earth do they? Obviously, I asked Jose, who's the lawyer for urbanism, who also runs this place, quite well. He said, I'll take a look at that, but he does more illegal builds type things than the town planning. That's a different section in the town hall. He hasn't got back to me on that one. So I'd love to know what the actual rule is.
Absolutely, that'll be interesting to hear it. So while Bill's writing, if he's still on, any more live chat questions, everybody, before we do a little bit of a roundup? What we're going to ask is, what do we think is going to change in 2024? We've already talked about a few things, but while we're waiting for Chris to think about that, and anybody to ask any questions, then let me just remind you that if you have any questions or comments after we go off the air, put them in the YouTube comments below, not on some random Facebook group. because it won't help enough people on there, because it'll only be me that will read it. Put it here so that everybody who watches the video can read the comments and get the answers to those questions for free. It's a win-win-win. Oh, where's me win-win-win? I've got to change the screen for that one. It's a win-win-win with the cherry on top. And don't forget, of course, to click on the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, so you'll be the first to know what's coming up each week on the live shows and the midweek videos. Click on the bell as well, and do the same on Chris's channel on the Upsticks YouTube. So let's see, any more questions? Nothing yet. What do you expect? Any surprises you expect in the new year?
I mean, well, in terms of applying for residency, what we have seen is the security on a lot of the Spanish websites become tougher, you know, to booking appointments. So we've just seen it in Almeria at the moment, we have a problem with appointment, and you have to use your clavi pin now to get into the system. So I think, you know, after this year's bringing down of that gang who were selling appointments, but it doesn't matter, because if you're legal, you'll be able to get them. So it doesn't matter. So that's an improvement.
Excellent.
And I think we'll see the speed, hopefully, of the applications in the UK going through, getting quicker. Manchester still seems to be sat around 7-8 weeks or a little bit longer for some. We had obviously this year problems this end with the criminal justice department going on strike, which stopped part of that intricate process. But as for the BLS offices, they seem to be working well, 15-minute appointments. But I think the only thing I would say on that front is that they don't seem to be doing the same due diligence on the requirements as the consulates did in-house. So you have to have they're there just to go tick, 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 tick. Yeah, there you go. So if you, for example, were to take a bank account with not enough money in it, for example, it's quite possible you could get past that first initial visa appointment and then send it to the consulate, and then you'd get the letter to say that this is correct. Whereas the consulate wouldn't even let you make the application. Yeah, so I think that going into 2024, it's a due diligence of being right that first time, because the person behind the desk in BLS is just ticking bank account down their list, you know.
Yes. Paul Cook says, thanks for everything you both do. I try and watch all the videos and I've learnt a lot. Keep up the good work. Cheers. Yes. Thank you so much for your positive messages. So let's announce what's on next week's show. If you didn't know by now, it's the Christmas show. Yes, it's the final show of 2023. It's going to be absolutely packed with special guests, all of them giving you a special Christmas message from them and telling you about what they do, including one who's not been on the show for over 2 years, a good friend of both of ours up in Locker. And yes, they all have a message for you. We will, as usual, bring you any breaking news and updates, if there is any, between now and next week, about visas and residency and everything else you need to know. And of course, the most important thing, we'll be drawing the winning raffle number. So don't forget to buy your entries right now. There you go. Float above the code. It's going to be loads of fun. We'll be dressing up as usual and having the best of festive chats. So make sure you join us live for that, and bring some Christmas cake or cookies or whatever, something Christmassy. Port's a good Christmassy thing, isn't it? We've been trying
the Fino, we have in Cadiz, they call it, they've got the sherry, they've also got the Fino, which is a sweet wine.
Ah.
Which they forced me to try, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. It's terrible, isn't it? They've got that here in, we have the Computer wine. That's a very sweet one as well. And so you can ask your questions in advance on the Facebook group as well, and over the next few days. And of course, you can do that on Upsticks as well.
Yeah, I mean, what I've been doing is, if there is any questions there, then, and if they relate to one of the shows we're going to be doing, I'll pass them on to you. Say, look, check this out, we're going to answer it. Because I'm not doing live shows. It's a great way to combine the two channels.
Yes, it is indeed. And we'll be doing a lot more of that next year, I'm sure. Yeah. So, thanks once again to everybody who's been on the live chat, and for watching the video back afterwards and leaving comments and hitting the like button and buyingacoffee.com or buying your raffle tickets. I'll see you on the latest helpful video on Wednesday evening, which will hopefully be about how to navigate Spanish roundabouts. And then again, of course, live next Saturday morning for the final show at the regular time of 9 o'clock if you're in the UK or Ireland, or 10 o'clock in the morning if you're in Spain or Central Europe. So everybody give a big wave and a virtual hug and kiss to Chris for being with us for this massive penultimate show. And that's all for this week. Somebody pass around the Roundup cookies. And here's one final message from all of us here at YouTooSpain. Bye bye for now. Bye lads. Bye.
Goodbye. Toodaloo.
Peace and love.
Peas and fluff.
Oi oi.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
One more cosmic dance?
All right then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing.
Oh, I'm all a quiver.
Let's dance.